When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 2 of the Icon Season 3 Cup Series, live from the virtual Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Tonight, Sim Racing Media brings you all of the action as these drivers once again take to the season, and they're going to take to the challenging 17-turn West configuration at the Circuit of the Americas. Tight corners, technical sections, and plenty of opportunities for high-speed heroics. Slightly different configuration than what drivers might have seen earlier today that NASCAR ran. However, last week we saw a jaw-dropping 3-wide finish at Daytona where Ryan Patty just edged out Nathan Finnegan in a thriller with Kendall Leverin rounding out the podium. They're all in the same shot at the end of the race, but tonight it's a whole new ball game. Road course precision is going to take center stage. The power rankings are already stacked with talent. Leading this week is Brian Smith, followed by Kendall Leverin, Brock Hersey. But don't count out Robert Blount, Travis Gilbert, and of course Ryan Patty, all looking to make their mark this week. The question everybody's asking is, can Patty go back-to-back, or will a road course specialist rise to the top, or are we in for another wild finish under the Texas sun? Race fans, buckle up. It's time for another good one. Joining me today is Shane Cochran. My name's Jonathan Leach. Shane, you got the tail of the take for the race.
Yeah, I think this is all going to be about avoiding mistakes. You know, we're not doing full course cautions tonight. So if you get spun or you spin someone, all you can do is claw that back manually. And take a look at last year's finish. the top 5 drivers all had, or not all of them, but most of them had over 100 incident points by the end of the race. That's multiple drive-through penalties for those guys at the front. So if you can avoid that tonight, I think that's going to be to your advantage.
Yeah, the on-track or off-track incidents are going to be an issue, and staying on track is going to be the key to getting a good finish. We're getting through the course right now, getting ready for green flag racing. Nathan Finnegan just beat Brian Smith, who is fastest in practice consistently for the pole. Row number 2 is going to be Nathan Brzezowski and Cody Neal. Row 3 is Michael Taylor and Ray Lane. And row 4, Kyle Purcell and Travis Gilbert. Shane.
Yeah, right behind him is our winner from last week, Ryan Patty and Tay McDonald in that 5th row, followed by Jacob Smith and Kendall Leveron in the 6th.
All right.
Looks like we are coming to the green, John.
Yeah, we had a little bit of timing issues. It kind of snuck up on us, but here we are, green flag racing here at Circuit of the Americas for the first time of this season. We're going to already see the drivers fan out just as we were expecting. But there is quite a bit of disparity going on here with my timing and scoring, as there's a lot of trouble back here in the back. You got cars sideways, still green flag racing presently. And this is going to be a hard
They say
race
life imitates art, and we saw the exact same thing in the Cup race today for the IRL NASCAR guys. That first turn is really the most treacherous thing to get through, especially here at the start of the race.
And the key is going to be on the restarts outside of the stage breaks, is trying to get position, that I would imagine. And right now, Nathan Finnegan is just out in front of Brian Smith right here. So the driver, the number 6, just in front of the 78, Nathan Brzezowski, Ray Lane. So the top 4 haven't really moved or changed too much so far in this one. I want to take a moment to thank all the drivers for being here and the fans as well. We've got 39 drivers here for this road course, which is, in itself exceptional. Another car around, the 74. That was Sean Purcell. I think that's going to be the tail of the tape for the longest time until these drivers start to get spread out, Shane.
Yeah, I think as this plays out, track position is going to be king. You've got some stage breaks later to maybe pull some strategy and try to gain some, but here it's all about how do you get one position at a time, one lap at a time. We watched, switch over to the 95. Charles Widner coming through turn 1. Everybody seems pretty spaced out now that they got very acquainted in that first lap with a couple cars going around. Trying to get a handle on who was involved there. And I see the 2 car and looks like the 01 back there have gone off track as well. A lot going on here at Circuit of the Americas. Really getting going and battling out. So we follow the 38 of Cody Neal. Cody, I believe, had a top 3 in last year's race. He'll be someone to watch. So we see Nathan Finnegan, Brian Smith battling here at the front. They currently run exactly how they qualified, with Finnegan starting on pole.
And you can see
back down the front stretch.
I say on screen, you can also see where we've got the track map up, so you can try to keep an eye on your favorite driver's number, whatever that might be, for where they are on the track. And you can see where the number 6 is leading the right there, coming to oh gosh, I can't tell you. Coming into the S turns now at this point. Last car on track right now appears to be the 88. That's Chris Camber, and he's had some trouble, and we're catching it right here, having a hard time getting through that first corner right there. As here comes Nathan Finnegan coming on. This looks like, I believe, turn 17. No, I'm wrong. He's coming through the S's. This is going to be difficult for me to call. I'm going to be honest, Shane. I'm not used to the Circuit of the Americas, but we'll get it. And folks, just bear with us. With only two of us, it's really hard to call this one radio style, as you hear by MRN or what they're able to do on Fox for live. But what we do need to mention here is Nathan Finnegan, Brian Smith are checking out on everybody else. These two guys are 0.4 of a second apart. The rest of the field at least 2 seconds behind them. But then we got, a gaggle of machines that are pretty close together. Michael Taylor, Cody Neal, Jacob Smith, and others. This is kind of your battle for the top 5 right here. We're on lap 3 of 60. Laps are going to go rather quickly, only about a minute 36, minute and 40 seconds per lap. We are going to have 2 stage breaks, which is going to give drivers an opportunity to reset and maybe recover from possible mistakes. Chris Cambert's down pit road after some earlier contact, I think, with the wall. You can see the rotors.
We're seeing just so many cars off track here. As we mentioned, you got that track map up on the screen. If you see a driver's number flash red like the 16s just did, that means they're off track. And there's probably going to be more off tracks than we can show you at any given time with the nature of this course. Through the week, I saw a lot of guys debating and questioning, hey, where is the off track? I thought I was good, but I'm getting incidents. Or people saying, hey, I slid way further off track than I expected and didn't get an incident point. So these guys are going to be pushing the limits, and they're not really sure exactly where that limit is for the track limits here in iRacing. A little contact there coming down the front stretch between the 71 and whoever that is behind him.
We'll take a minute.
Evan Patinko, I believe.
It was Evan Patinko, yes. Take a moment to center here on John Ross, driver of the 44. He's in a Ford Mustang. Currently up 10 positions in 4 laps so far, making work of these drivers, starting kind of from the back. Didn't have the best qualifying run, but he's slowly picking drivers through. That goes back to what we said earlier. The key to road courses, if you don't have winning speed, is stay on track, and you will pick up spots quickly. Braxton DeWeese is another driver. Not that I expected anything less. He's up 18 positions out of Miamisburg, Ohio. This time, his paint scheme is up and running. It's a gorgeous number 8 machine. Can't get quite the good view to say exactly what his sponsors are on here, but we're reading a couple of them. 3 Dips Ice Cream, Interstate Ford, Allen's Art Images. I'm not sure if that was updated. But very nice paint scheme right there for Braxton DeWeese, up 18 positions since the start of this one. Then here's Adam Ball. He's currently scored 17th. He's down 3 spots from his starting position of 14th. Zach Lockett just in front of him. Jacob Smith in the 5th place, up 6 spots. He's working on the 8 of Michael Taylor now. Both of them in the grass just a little bit.
Yeah, as we see them get off track, we've been talking about it, but the penalties start at 32 incident points and every 9 incident points after that. And as I mentioned, last year's top 5 had almost over, actually 3 of the 4 top 4 from last year's race had over 100 incidents. So it's going to be really interesting to see who can limit the mistakes, but who can maintain the speed to go up there and battle for the lead.
Yeah, at this point, we're really kind of looking at a 2-car breakaway between Finnegan and Smith. And in practice, we saw Smith, who's looking for a pass. Right now, they're coming into a left-hander, kind of going to shove Finnegan, up and high. Finnegan having to really be careful making that turn there. That's something that might come back later on. I was going to say it's really been a 2-car race until the bump there. Brian Smith a little bit more consistent on practice race times, but Finnegan did a good job the first 6 laps staying in front of him. You can see those front rotors glowing red hot on that number 6 machine as they're making that left turn right there. Nathan Brzezowski in the 77, still where he started, and Jacob Smith up another position, working his way around Michael Taylor. The pass isn't completed just yet. Side by side here through the S turns is going to complete the pass, but does the 08 have anything for him coming into the next set of corners?
Doesn't look like it just yet. Really, the key here is to be far enough ahead of the car you're trying to pass that he can't get back to your bumper and nudge you out of the way to get it back. It looks like Smith is going to keep just enough distance to stay safe.
On board Michael Taylor right here as he's tracking down, trying to get back around Jacob Smith, who took the position away. And you can just take a look at how much wheel input and just how, you know, technical this racetrack is. I'm going to make a left turn here, and you really have to set yourself up before. And there's a lot of wheel right there to make the turn. Isn't able to get the drive off that he wants, and you see Jacob Smith starting to step away from Michael Taylor here.
Yeah, and this is really the worst case scenario when you're trying to work a guy over in front of you is when there's someone right behind you. I think Cody Neal is behind Taylor, looking to jump on any mistakes that he makes as he tries to get around the guy in front of him.
Now focusing on Ryan Patty, he's driving the number 30 DeWalt Chevy. Big wiggle right there out of that left-hand turn, just behind the 26 that Kyle Diaz scored in the 9th position. Braxton DeWeese looking to put him one spot behind him as DeWeese is moving himself to the front. There's that number 8, and you know, not that I expected anything less. He was strong last week at Daytona. It just didn't work out for him, and up 18 positions in the top 10 with several cars in front of him. He's got Ryan Patty and Kyle Diaz, as well as a lapped machine in front of him. That might be, it's the blue one. I can't quite catch the number out on it right there. Not the blue one. It's just in front of him. It was a lapped car.
Yeah, we saw some smoke there, and in turn 17, I think there was a lapper or somebody turned around, but they got going in front of this group.
And so right back here, a little further back, Kyle Purcell, in the highest running Toyota, currently scored 11th. He's got quite the gap to the next closest competitor. He is got a 7-second advantage over Tay McDonald, who's leading a line of machines, followed by McDonald, followed by Zach Lockett, Kendall Levron, last week's 3rd place finisher, side by side with Lockett right now, the two on the inside, but they're going to come back to a right-hander, and up the two will take that spot away. Move Levron up to 13th, Lockett back a spot. Here's Waylon Turner as well in the number 1.
Yeah, 8 laps in, and the whole track is filled up. Cars all the way around the course. Really exciting to see.
Yeah, following with Charles Woods now, the driver number 98 machine, currently scored in the 35th spot. Had some smoke in front of him from some locked up brakes. And really a lot of drivers just, you know, just trying to get around this racetrack. It just like are playing around a golf. You're racing the other drivers as much as you're playing the course. Really do kind of like this Purple Heart Homes Chevrolet that Charles Woods is running right here. Just in front of him is Daniel Neiman in the 51 Motorcraft Mustang. You got Christopher Roth in front of him. He's fallen back on some spots. Laughlin, Nevada. I do like his machine he gets us in Bible Project. Pretty awesome racing machine. A good cause to race for, and nice to show your faith on air. So Christopher Roth, like your paint scheme, and you hang in there as you got Daniel Neiman right on your back bumper on your left-hand turn. Robert Blount, the Flintstones. Look at that car right there. It's almost like a Sour Patch Kids color, but it's got what is it? Is it Barney? No, Fred Flintstone. Barney Flintstone. Fred Flintstone on the front of that machine.
He's got Barney on the side, and Dino, it looks like. But yeah, you got to think he's got his feet pushed through the floorboards and pedaling that thing along.
Tell you what, I wouldn't want to use my feet as brakes when those front brakes go out. Philip Badurk, as we're going through the field here, currently up 10 spots. One of our other highest movers. Braxton DeWeese now up 19 spots in 9th. John Ross is up 12 and 20th. So keeping an eye on some of our other movers. Kevin Gunther, Bristol, Rhode Island, driving the number 31 Chevrolet. Looks like the picture that they uploaded got cut off, and we're looking at the top of a helmet for Kevin Gunther here. He's up 9 positions.
A lot of movement through the field. A lot of comers and goers.
So John Ross, who we're focused on, who's up 12 spots. He's currently right here, and he's got a couple other. He's trying to get around the 48. That's John McNeil presently to move himself up to 19th, put him up 13 positions. Just slowly driving through the field. Real slow, real methodical. He's up 13 spots in 9 laps. It's pretty good net gain. And you know, he's running consistent lap times faster than the next 4 guys. So I can foresee him getting into the top 15 here in the next 5 to 10 laps if Ross hangs onto the vehicle, nothing occurs, and we just keep going. It's worth mentioning the fuel run for today's race is about 21 laps. We were given that information from Ryan Patty in the pre-race, we call it the pre-race drivers meeting.
Yeah, I think we've got a stage break coming here at lap 15, so fuel shouldn't be an issue for the first stage. Second stage will be at lap 35, so fuel, if you save a little bit on those caution laps, you ought to be able to make the second stage as well. That third stage is where fuel strategy is really going to come into play.
And I mean, that might just be how you have to try to win a race like this. If you're not Brian Smith, who's checking out over everybody else, he's got a 3.6 second gap over Nathan Finnegan, and we were talking about that pre-race during practice, and you know, that he was going to be really hard to beat. And right now we're following Kyle Gilbert back in the 19th position. John Ross had just passed by him. They're going up that long uphill here at Circuit of the Americas, going into that left-hand turn. It almost feels kind of blind right there, I imagine, when you got a bunch of speed trying to get through that corner. Try to watch it from the perspective of a driver. And it's almost a blind corner when you're coming up this hill.
It really is, with that peak of the hill right there. It's just, you can't see, and really most of your eyes are in your mirror. You're looking to make sure nobody's diving to the inside there. That's one of the big trouble spots here at Circuit of the Americas.
We're on board with Braxton DeWeese right now, currently scored P9. He's got Kyle Diaz on his sights, both driving Fords. Ryan Patty 3 seconds behind him now. Braxton looking to go up 20 positions on the race so far, but he's still got his work cut out for him to get around Kyle Diaz. Try to get a good angle from the blimp view right here, as you can see Adam featuring on Adam Ball, still running in 17th. Hasn't really changed position since the last time we checked on him. He does have John Ross right behind him, and you can see focusing on Adam Ball, John Ross just behind him, and right now Adam Ball himself working on the 60 car. So still a couple cars for John Ross to slowly try to get around, as we've been mentioning him. Kyle Diaz is up 5 spots with Braxton DeWeese knocking on the door. And here through the S's, you know, they just kind of split it. It's almost like they didn't even try to make the corner. It's best to just split the middle coming into this left-hander here. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, cheering on your favorite driver, your friends, your family, anybody that you're listening to. Got some drivers shouting out Zach Lockett here and things to the 16 car. Braxton DeWeese is debuting the Janes on Main Ford Mustang. Wanted to thank Ben and Jane for their continued sponsorship and support for him. And, you know, he's showing why he's got some deals as he's up 19 spots. And still watching this battle right here between Diaz and DeWeese as we're trying to see, you know, just giving him the opportunity here, waiting for him to get to that plus 20 positions on the race here. Kyle Diaz not making it easy as we're coming to lap 13. Excuse me, lap 12. There's blind corner, makes the dive to the inside. The 26 is going to try the crossover move. Wow, that could have been really big right there. That stayed awfully civilized. That could have been huge for both drivers. They had the awareness to recognize that, you know, DeWeese had the awareness to recognize that Kyle Diaz there was likely to, you know, push to the outside, and he stayed out, and Diaz had the awareness that DeWeese might be making that left turn right there, and they just both managed to do that and stay out of each other on that first corner.
Yeah, I think Braxton owes his spotter a beer, whether he's a human or an iRacing bot. He saved him there.
Both drivers going around the 51 machine of Daniel Neiman. A handful of drivers have pitted so far. Michael Jennings, Bentley Glazer, who's not on track. Charles Woods not on track. Thomas Taylor, who is on track in the number 57. And Chris Camburn on track as well, the number 88. So these guys are still out there running laps. Got a few cars they can pass that are not on the track. Take a look at Brian Smith, who Nathan Finnegan has managed to track back down. You know, there's a 2.5 second gap between these guys not too long ago. Yeah, last time around, both drivers ran the exact same lap time at a 1:37.71. Go on board with Finnegan as he's trying to chase down and reclaim the lead as he's looking to the inside of the 78 right here. Doesn't quite have it. Who's going to get off the corner better? It does look like Finnegan. Finnegan trying to set himself up for this right-hander. Might have a better opportunity coming up on the left hand up here. Doesn't get off the corner quite as well as he needs to. I think we're going to need to see our subs.
This has been the battle at the front all day. These two just working on each other, trying to find the weakness.
Yeah, I think Finnegan's going to have an opportunity coming up at this left-hander, or it's going to be up the hill for turn number 1 in that tight left-hand corner here. So it looks like he's going to try to come out wide and look to the inside, but he's not. Okay, so it looks like he chose to try to make that corner to set himself up for an opportunity down, I guess we'll call it the front stretch. But it looks like he's too far back. He's 0.4 of a second behind here. He could dive bomb as Jacob Smith from 4th coming down pit road. Finnegan really closes the gap. You got a car around. That's the number 28. Right there next to leaders is Patrick Colby. He might be, and he is going to looking to get the car running. Jacob Smith on pit road, as we mentioned. So pitting prior to the stage end. These guys right here looking for stage points. Finnegan's got a couple more shots at him.
Yeah, absolutely a pro strategy to jump into the pits there. If you're not in a place to get the stage points you want, then put yourself in a better position to win the next stage or the race.
And, you know, and it's worth mentioning, Jacob Smith is running a pretty solid race. His best lap time is a 1:37.30. Not race winning pace right there, but good enough pace to be a top 5, top 6 machine. And, you know, setting yourself up to be as far forward as possible at a place like this is only going to help you out. You want to avoid the chaos of everybody on the restart for turn 1. Finnegan really putting the pressure on right here with Smith. And you can tell Smith's car is kind of starting to go away between the two right here. Making that last left turn for the end of the stage. Here comes the leader. Does Finnegan have anything off of that final turn? It doesn't look like it. Leaders cross start-finish line. That's lap 15.
Yeah, I think this will be the last lap before the stage. You believe Icon throws their stage caution when the leader completes the marked lap, which would be this one.
Looks like Finnegan another 16 attempts to get by, but looks like Smith's pulling away a little bit further now. And the field is really getting spread out from these guys. These two guys, their next closest competitor, Nathan Brzezowski, is 10 seconds back. Michael Taylor, 20 seconds back. Then you got Cody Neal. Braxton DeWeese has found himself up to 6th in a bit of a rat's nest right here, getting by Travis Gilbert. And he's got his work cut out to him to get to the top 5 to catch Cody Neal. But the good news for DeWeese here is, you know, the stage is about to end, and he's going to be right up to the front. And he's running lap times close enough to the leaders that I think he's going to have something to say about this race before the end of it.
Yeah, we've only gone, like we said, 15 laps for this first stage, but there are only 24 drivers still on the lead lap.
And this is no short racetrack either. So, I mean, that just goes to show how technical and difficult this racing surface is. And these guys, ladies and gentlemen, watching this event are high I rating drivers, and they are having a hard time on this racetrack. And when I say high I rating drivers, again, the average I rating is about 1,000. These guys double, 2.5, and triple those I ratings, and they're still having a hard time at this racetrack today. So there's going to be the stage 1 caution. It's Brian Smith, Finnegan, Brzezowski, Michael Taylor, who still hasn't finished his lap yet. Cody Neal, DeWeese, even further back. That's going to be your top 6 for the completion of the first stage. Being a road course, and these were the only cautions we're going to have. We're going to take our first break. We're going to step away and come back. And with time, we'll take a moment to try to interview one of these leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Leach, Ben Cochran with SRM, and the Icon Cup Series. We'll be right back.
Back with the Icon Cup Series at Circuit of the Americas. Stage 1 complete. We've got 24, maybe 25 with a wave around cars still on the lead lap. Brian Smith, Nathan Finnegan have been battling for the first 2 spots with a pretty big gap back to the rest of the field. We're going to see if we can get Brian up here in the booth and check on what he's seen out there so far today. Hey, Brian, this is Shane in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you loud and clear, Shane.
All right. We've been watching you and Finnegan battling it out at the front. Saw the fenders get together a little bit. Wanted to get your take on that and what the race has been like so far.
Yeah, it's been a great race. It was fun battling Finnegan. I certainly didn't feel like I did anything wrong. I'm going to have to go back and watch the replay because I know he wasn't too happy. But, I mean, that's just passing in the next gen. Like, just kind of got to stick your car in there, and I felt like I obviously had enough of a run to go door to door with him, and it is what it is. We'll check it out after the race, but yeah, it's been a blast so far.
Yeah, I'm wondering, how are you finding your speed? Did you watch the Cup race earlier, pick up any tips from those guys?
No, I'm just kind of relying on my experience and other races I've done in this car. I haven't run a bunch of COTA, but just racing the next gen car is pretty applicable track to track. So yeah, just falling back on experience.
Awesome. Do you prefer this shorter west configuration or the big long one?
I'm kind of indifferent on it. Don't really have a preference either way. The long straight at the previous layout was fun, but other than that, it races about the same.
Well, good to hear it. Well, we're glad to see you running up front again. Have good luck out there tonight, and we'll let you get back to racing.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right, so that was Brian Smith, driver number 78 out of Northville. Not sure what state, country, or whatever. That information's not there. But, Shane, I just noticed something. These guys were having a hard time making that left turn, that blind uphill corner, and we're under caution.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever easy, even when you're following that pace truck around.
Yeah, it was difficult for them right there. This pace truck makes it look easy at 70 miles an hour. All right, they're doing 50. But
yeah, and as we're looking at this front pack, you'll notice the 4 and the 19, that's Jacob Smith and Adam Ball, they undercut the stage, pitted a little bit early so that they could stay out at stage finish and come right to the front. And so they really don't have much older tires than some of these guys at the front. And this will be the first clean air they've seen all day. What do you think? Do you think they can stay out front of these fast leaders, the 6 and the 78, or are they about to get gobbled up?
Well, we saw speed out of Jacob Smith. He was running 4th. He was about 10 seconds back from Finnegan and Smith, so they were able to step away from him. Adam Ball, however, was running closer to the 17th position, about 2 seconds slower on average. So I don't expect Adam Ball to be able to, based on what we've seen, I don't want to say he can't, but based on what we've seen, I don't expect him to stay out front for very long. I hope he proves me wrong. But the question here really for me is, how patient are Finnegan, Smith, and DeWeese or Brzezowski, the next 4 drivers? Are they patient here? Because if they're too aggressive, it's only lap 19. I wouldn't say you'd ruin your race, but it sure took Braxton DeWeese 15 laps to get up to increase his spot by 23. So, I mean, you could certainly get yourself into the back here in a hurry if you make an aggressive move with one of these 2 drivers on the front and it doesn't work out for you.
Yeah, I mean, you've got one more stage break to kind of be your fail-safe if you have some issues, but otherwise you're going to need that track position all day.
All right, the pace truck turned off.
As they come back around to the front stretch, there they go. They're using a restart zone. It's a DRS sign. I was listening to the drivers chat about it earlier. There's no Geico restart zone painted on the track, so they're using that DRS sign from a Formula One racing to decide where to go. We've got cars off track.
There goes Adam Ball right off the track. He overshot the corner. Everybody else seems to get through pretty clean. 3 wide. There's trouble there. Braxton DeWeese and Brzezowski going around.
See, we've got cars everywhere.
And that was exactly what I was talking about. How patient can you be? We'll try to catch what happened to DeWeese here. Oh, what happened? Yeah, he a lot of wheel spin, and he just collides with the 77. Cold tires, a lot of wheel spin, and gets smoked right there. Jacob Smith. Kendall Leverin just had an issue a moment ago. Might just be an off-track moment.
This place feels more dangerous than Talladega. You know, worried about the big one. Do you want to be in front of it or try to get far enough behind it to avoid it? I'm not sure there's any escape.
They're trying to use our on-track events. Kind of hard to tell because it counts off-track incidents as a wreck here as well. Smith out in front over Finnegan and Brian Smith, which we were mentioning or talking about earlier. Kind of doing a little bit of a snake there. I don't know if he's trying to break the draft or just set himself up better. Is Finnegan going to look to the inside? No, he's going to go to the outside. Really good corner right there by Jacob Smith in that number 4 Mustang. It's going to stretch out a little bit over Finnegan. And then he's about 3 seconds back from the lead, back to Michael Taylor, Kyle Diaz. Worth mentioning, John Ross up 21 spots, running 11th now. Zach Lockett's 10th. Ryan Patty still hanging out in the top 10 and 8th. Kendall Leverin down pit road. Braxton DeWeese also on pit road. We'll see how long he's going to be there. Only for tires. Is it for damage? Vehicle hasn't come up. Looks like he is on pit road for damage. The good thing for him is it's a long racetrack. We don't know how much damage he has. We'll keep an eye on that, but it's about a minute and a half around here. If he can avoid going a lap down, he's still probably got about 20 or 30 seconds he can sit here. As Jacob Smith and company are coming around 2 more corners before they're on the front stretch. And here comes DeWeese. He is exiting pit road after 40 seconds. He might have had a penalty for that.
That's
Are you hearing
true.
anything on your end, Shane?
I think that I'm looking right now. I do see Brad Delph and Roth. They both have black flags right now, probably for some off-track incidents. We'll see if they come down and serve those. But I'm not hearing what was happening to Deweese on the radio.
Want to mention a new fastest time was set on the racing surface by Jacob Smith. 1 minute 36.48 seconds around Circuit of the Americas. Now out front, he's showing that he has speed to contend with both Finnegan and Brian Smith, as well as he has stepped away from Finnegan by 1.2 seconds. Slightly older tires, but not by much. And I believe most of the laps that he ran were under yellow on his tires. Showing a couple other drivers might have had an incident back here. Waylon Turner and company coming up the blind corner to make a left-hand turn. A little bit of lock up there. Which it's really hard to judge that because you can't see it. You have to anticipate it, and if you anticipate wrong, you're slow, and if you're too late, you're off the track. Tate McDonald in the vet to track 29 Mustang here, currently 8th. That's just a really difficult corner to make it work.
It is. It just feels like there's no easy corner here at COTA. There's not one where you get to take a break, catch your breath. Maybe the front stretch is your best chance to just drive straight and plan your next lap, but especially the top of the hill in turn 1.
Yeah, definitely very technical. It's not, it's not like Watkins Glen, I might add, which there are a couple of corners you can kind of relax on. I feel like the S turns at the Glen, you can lollygag a little bit on. Right here, you certainly can't lollygag through these corners. Maybe that sweeping right hand, I don't know, Martinsville, style corner that these drivers are coming up on in about 3 turns. You can kind of relax some. But honestly, I think you're right. It's just the front stretch. Catch your breath, get ready, and then don't lock up the brakes into turn number 1.
Yeah, really impressed with Jacob Smith holding the lead in front of Finnegan and his twin brother Brian.
Whoa, some trouble right there.
77 power sliding it through there.
He's going to let Charlie
lose 1 position, but stay on track.
Yeah, Charlie Widener's going to get by the 77, the 95, up 4 spots on the day. Just in front of them, you got Adam Petit, who we haven't spoken about much today, up 6 spots in the 60. Kyle Purcell down 1 spot. Second highest running Toyota. Zach Lockett in 10th is the highest running Toyota. He's got about a second over John Ross, who's still looking to further increase his position on this race. Braxton DeWeese scored 24th. Believe it or not, even after getting all that damage taken care of, he's still 4 positions higher than when he started this race. Car looks pretty clean.
Yeah, I think he was able to get, if he did have much damage, he got it cleaned up.
Take a look at the backside of that machine as it comes around here. That right side of the spoiler is way out of whack right here. That is certainly going to affect the driving ability of this machine. I do think I agree with him when he came down pit road. To come down pit road when he did. Go ahead and take that 40 seconds, assuming it wasn't a penalty, but if it was, the 40 seconds would have been very useful. His first car 1 lap down, you get that lap back under the next stage, and as well as repair some damage and maybe give him an opportunity into the final stage with the pit stop. But either way, he's got his work cut out for him, and that was what we were talking about on the restart. What's gonna go wrong, or is anyone going to get a little bit too antsy and try to take too much too fast as Finnegan is chasing down Smith?
Yeah, the only thing I'd be worried about there, he is sitting in that lucky dog position now, but we saw the field getting lapped pretty significantly in that first stage, so he's going to have to battle to keep that lucky dog position as more cars go a lap down.
But Brian Smith looking to make a move. A big wiggle right there from Smith and Finnegan. So all 3 cars together, as you say on the speedways, throw a blanket on them, except we're at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. Instead, Finnegan looking for an opening. Smith closes the door through the S turns. Is anybody going to falter? No, and man, that was so methodic looking. That just looked so cool going through the S turns. Left hand through the middle of some more. Left hand corner.
These 3 are right on top of each other.
Oh, big wiggle for Smith right there. Is going to open the door for Finnegan. There's going to be a right-hander. Smith is going to just send it in there to hold the lead, and he's going to manage to somehow keep a good arc to make that corner, coming into a tight left-hand turn. A lot of drive off the right rear right there for Smith to hang on to it. There's that
just
right
really
hand
fun
U-turn.
to see that the field spread out 2 miles apart, but the top 3 right on each other's bumper.
Yeah, this is a dogfight, and it's not going to stop until either all 3 of them are taken out. As Finnegan side by side now with the 4. Finnegan on the outside, really kind of in a disadvantaged spot as Smith is going to get around him. The trading spots, Finnegan looking for the advantage into turn 1. Jacob Smith doing it, or excuse me, that's Brian Smith. Jacob Smith has not really having any options there. He's got to block Finnegan high, looking for the crossover. Finnegan's just going to slam it in there. Not happy. Going to get the short end of the stick on that one. Move Brian Smith up to the lead.
Yeah, he just kind of let those guys get together and then pounced on them. Finnegan's had a lot of speed, and he's been jumping the curbs a little bit. It looks like it makes me nervous to think I'd lose the traction, but he seems to be making it work.
I just think he's a little bit frustrated right there. I'm sure he thinks that move by Smith, that last second was, a little bit aggressive blocking wise, and we're talking about Jacob Smith, not Brian Smith. And I think Jacob Smith realized I'm in a bad spot with where Brian is. I'm not going to make this corner, and his only way to do it was pop to the outside and give himself, a wider turn of entry. But by doing so, he had to cut the nose off of Finnegan, and Finnegan just doesn't seem like he's driving too happy right now with that 4 car in front of him.
No, he's got to be careful not to burn the rear tires off of it. We saw that happen in the Cup race today. A couple guys got racing really hard, like Kyle Busch, and then they didn't have any tires left to defend when it came down to it. And these 3 battling up front, getting side by side, have brought the 08 car of Michael Taylor into the picture as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Taylor is still involved here, just abiding his time, running better lap times than these two. Finnegan to the inside now of Smith. If I'm Smith, I think I might just let Finnegan have this one. And that does look to be what's going to happen here.
I don't know. He's still putting up a fight.
Against my better judgment as a crew chief. Wow, side by side, they're pretty much just grinding on each other right here. Yeah, that was a great commentary right there. Beating and banging on each other. Whoa, there it is. There's the northern go round. Jacob Smith going to lose a spot to Michael Taylor in that exchange. And here comes Michael Taylor for Finnegan. Finnegan off in the grass. Going to open the door. Here comes Michael Taylor. Oh, Michael Taylor surprising me in the Celsius 08 Ford Buddy Motorsports machine right here.
That is a good looking paint scheme there. Really like that one.
John Ross has managed, while we were watching that outstanding battle between those 3, has managed to crack the top 10. Next driver he's going to put his sights on is Ryan Patty, who's running where he started. Kyle Purcell, in the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Kind of enjoying these energy drink machines for this race here, as Nathan Finnegan is down pit road. I wonder if he's serving an incident penalty.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep an eye on this to see.
That first penalty comes at 32 incidents. We saw a couple 4X incidents happening between him and Jake, pardon me, and Smith there at the front. Looks like that's what's happening.
All right, so Brian Smith down in front of Michael Taylor by 4.6 seconds. Jacob Smith 5.5. It's just patience. It's running a good race, and you can have all these shining moments where you're getting by people, you're passing people. But if you have an incident, or if you're off the track too many times, or you frustrate a driver and you get taken out and you have a penalty to serve for 40 seconds, that's the race. You just have to be clean. So guys like Michael Taylor, not quite race-winning speed. He's second right now.
Yeah, being in the right place at the right time is sometimes all it takes.
I want to thank again all the drivers for being here. 39 total drivers showed up for the night. Actually 40 to be exact. I want to thank the family, friends, spouses, girlfriends, everybody for being here and watching their guy, their friend race tonight. And just know, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just a video game to these guys. They put in the time and the effort to be better, and this is a good track to showcase it. If these guys didn't put laps in, and we're talking tens and hundreds for some of these guys, we would have no race. These guys would not be on track. This is a very difficult course to get around 17 different times, 60 times. Or 17 turns, 60 times. This is very difficult to get around. So I want to thank you guys for letting your friends, family members put in the effort and time to enjoy this great way to have some cost-efficient competition. John
Brian
Ross
Smith really spacing it out at the front. Now he's got the clean air.
Yeah, he is, but still, Michael Taylor's not that much slower than him. Jacob Smith, however, his tires he's having a hard time running decent lap times, faster than everybody behind him, but he's just not able to keep up with the top two. Really, at this point, as Jacob Smith, I almost wonder if you do the same thing again and pit before the stage and start the stage again first, and then hope that you get some help again. Because he did surprise me.
It feels a little early in the season to be thinking about points, but when it comes down to those cutoff races, this is maybe the moment in the season where you wish you got an extra point or two. So staying out to get stage points is maybe smarter in the long story, but being able to put yourself in position for the victory could make even more of a difference.
Yeah, that's a pretty good, rule of thumb here on a good thought. Whenever I used to do a lot of racing, I could consistently, I could be a top 10 car. I never really had race winning speed, but I was always points racing. So you bring up a good point. I just, when he pit last time, he gave up stage points to start up front, and he's one position greater now than he was when he pitted at the end of stage number 1. So I could see writing this out, but now we got a car around. Is that Adam Ball? Christopher Roth? Oh, I'm not sure who that was.
Ooh.
Oh, it was Christopher Roth. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened to Daniel Suarez this afternoon. He got a little too deep into the corner, and there is a sidewalk and a curb there that can catch you.
All right, now this is an important thing to recognize right now. Braxton DeWeese is no longer the first car 1 lap down. He has a hot minute behind. Okay, I'm reading timing and scoring wrong. He is locked in combat with the number 32 Cody Eldred right now for the lucky dog position.
Looks like he's got it for now.
And looks like he's stepping away from him right here. It's going to be good for him. There's still a little bit of ways to go, I believe, till the. But we're going to have one more stage.
Be careful. It looks like Waylon Turner, who's one position in front of Braxton and still on the lead lap, has a black flag. And he'll be serving. That will bring him back into that lucky dog spot if Braxton can't get ahead of him before he deals with that.
Well, I'm coming down. I'm imagining
just 4 laps away from the end of the stage.
We'll keep a close eye on that, because if without getting the lucky dog, it's going to put DeWeese in a really tough spot. It's going to be very difficult to recover from that untimely penalty that he had to take earlier. Now, Nathan Finnegan has done all right. He has recovered up to 15th, having gone down pit road on lap 27. And I'm showing that his pit stop time was only 14.57, so perhaps he chose to pit. So maybe there wasn't a caution involved, or he had a stop and go and chose to pit with it.
Yeah, hard to tell.
Yeah, I wish we were, privy to that information to really paint the picture for the viewers out here that are watching this. We got 23 of you guys presently right now. Thanks again for being here. Just past halfway to go. Brian Smith, Michael Taylor out front, as well as Jacob Smith. Other notable drivers, Braxton DeWeese was our highest mover earlier, and Nathan Finnegan was locked in combat for the race lead as well. John Ross has been steadily moving up in this race. Just very consistent, very steady, consistently running about the same lap times between 139 and 140s, just lap in and lap out without any incidents. It's almost the most, impressive drive for me, in my opinion, you know, not being a race-winning car, but he just doesn't make any mistakes. He's running what he can run speed-wise, and he's not having any errors. We're going to go on board with him as he's currently in 11th. Next car to try to catch is about 3 seconds in front of him. Just very
Certainly
smooth.
more relaxed than when we were riding with Finnegan earlier, battling with those other guys at the front, spinning the rear tires on most of the turns. This looks like he's taking it easy on those tires, and he's able to maintain consistency the whole run.
And then Jacob Smith is coming down pit road right now. And yeah, John Ross just real nice and easy on his tires. You can hear him scrubbing right there, but it just seems very methodical. Not a lot of sawing on the wheel here. And that's what's got him up to 11th. As here's Jacob Smith on the inside. He's going to turn into his pit box. Good stop for Jacob Smith, looking to capitalize on the stage, maybe start P1. Is anybody else going to try and do anything of that sort? Deweese still showing the lucky dog position for now. But Waylon Turner, really worth mentioning that Brian Smith is right there. And if you're Braxton Deweese, if Brian Smith gets around Waylon Turner, it's pretty much race over. He's not going to be able to recover for it if he's on the lucky dog, because there's not going to be another full race caution.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure that Waylon has a black flag that he needs to serve. And Braxton is in about 30 seconds behind him. Maybe if he comes down to serve that black flag as he goes in the lucky dog, then Braxton will have a chance to get it back.
Has it not
But
been
he's
3
not coming
laps
in this time?
I feel like it's been 3 laps since you mentioned the last time about that black flag. And Deweese is really... Go
I
ahead.
can see it in iRacing that it's there, but I don't know. I don't know what it's for. Oh, actually, Waylon just got disqualified
Oh, that's unfortunate.
for not serving it.
Oh, that is unfortunate right there. Just happened to miss it. Maybe there was some in-race chatter to discuss how that was going to be handled, and it wasn't taken care of. Braxton Deweese is going to stay the lucky dog. If you're Brian Smith and those guys, I'm not too happy about that. It's actually showing Waylon Turner as a lucky dog presently, but Deweese will cycle into that position. Man, what a great view of COTA right here. Looking right down what we'll call the front stretch start-finish line. Drivers coming up the up-hand turn, and of course now we're looking at pit road. I'd like to go back to the other scenic view. But Brian Smith a few more times around, starting to step away from Michael Taylor. About a 7-second gap from Taylor, and then another 7-second to Cody Neal. And Finnegan, you know, running good lap times. He's only worked himself back up to 11th.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Patty came down pit lane and has now lost the lead lap.
Yeah, and a 15-second stop. I
wonder if he was trying to undercut the stage and didn't
misjudged
realize
the time.
how far back it would put him.
Yeah, trying to undercut the stage and going a lap down when not everybody is a lap down for undercutting the stage, like Jacob Smith in particular, that he's going to be trapped. Because Smith isn't going to pit. Patty's going to be trapped a lap down, as well as everybody else. And Adam Ball just went a lap down to Brian Smith. That's going to put him in the lucky dog position and not Braxton Deweese.
Yeah, and they're not even close on track. Braxton's not going to be able to catch him in this half of a lap we have remaining in stage 2. It's a really interesting pit strategy playing out here.
Man, all of these guys, none of them are going to be able to pit because Jacob Smith is going to stay out. He undercut the stage, and him and John McNeil both have trapped every car that's a lap down, not in the lucky dog position. They are all trapped a lap down. They will not be able to get the wave around. Man, that just takes DeWeese out of this race.
And now with just 18 drivers on that lead lap.
That's a really anticlimactic way to take, one of the faster cars out. Patty down pit road again, just going to get some more fuel. I guess at this point, all he can do is, try to get back on the lead lap through some pit strategy on the final stage here, as we're coming up on that shortly.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the fuel run was 21 laps. I don't think you can make it from here if you're Ryan Patty. Maybe if you're, coasting all the way around under caution here.
Well, let's be realistic here. The caution's out. They'll probably get started again around lap 39 or so. He picks up some more fuel. Maybe with the caution, maybe they can get there. Brian Smith is going to win stage number 2. Michael Taylor, Cody Neal, Travis Gilbert, Kyle Diaz. Adam Ball is going to be your lucky dog. And John McNeil and Jacob Smith are going to trap the field. Everybody that's a lap down, they're going to remain trapped a lap down. Folks, it's been an exciting first half to race number 2 of the Icon Season 3 Cup Series here at Circuit of the Americas. I'm Jonathan Leach, Shane Cochran joining me. Brian Smith is your Stage 2 winner, and we will be back in a few moments for driver stage interviews.
38 laps complete at the Icon Cup Series at Circuit of the Americas. We just finished up stage 2. We saw some interesting pit strategy play out with a bunch of drivers trying to undercut the stage so that they could stay out, but some of them not realizing they would go a lap down and get trapped there. We had the driver in the lucky dog position receive a disqualification for not serving a black flag, and then at the last second, that would lucky dog changed hands once or twice in the closing laps of the stage. And a bunch of guys counting on that lucky dog weren't able to grab it. We've got a driver even getting a black flag under the caution. The 19 of Adam Ball might have made some contact and hit his incident limit coming down pit road. But the guy we're looking to chat with right now is Jacob Smith. He undercut the first stage and the second stage. Jacob, this is Shane in the booth. You have a copy.
Hey Shane, yep, loud and clear.
All right, we've seen you make the big brain move twice here to undercut the end of the stage, get yourself out front to start it up, and you were able to hold your own at the beginning of the last one. What do you have for everybody here in this final stage?
Well, I guess we'll see. I figured shooting off on 2 or 3 lap old tires is going to be a better move than fresh tires. These things are ice cold when you come out of pits, so I had no shot at winning the stage. I may as well take a chance and get out front and see how it feels in clean air and try and hold on to whatever position I can here in the last stage.
Yeah, we saw some beating and banging going on the last time around too. Is that give us your take on that?
Yeah, Nathan and I, we talked after the stage. We cleared it up. I think both of us, we were side by side in the S's, and neither of us wanted to give. So I ended up being the worst recipient out of that one. So we'll see.
Well, we love to see the beating and banging here from the booth, but we also love to know that the cool heads prevail and both of you guys are ready to go back racing. So have some good luck tonight. Looks like you got your brother there right behind you. Are you worried about him
not my brother, but
Oh, sorry.
Close. We're living a couple miles apart. We may as well be.
Oh, I got you. I must took the joke too literally in the Discord this week.
No problem. Yep, no problem.
But yeah, so good luck tonight. We'll let you get back to focusing on what's in front of you and the guys behind you.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Boy, what a way. Yeah, that ain't my brother. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. Well, so, like you mentioned, this brings a whole different input to what we're expecting to see here. Now that Braxton DeWeese is pretty much out of it. Jacob Smith is going to get what he can get here after choosing to pit at the stage, like you said. I think that played a role in what happened to Braxton DeWeese on the last restart coming out of stage 1 or coming into stage 2 because the car just got loose and went around. And it's just, we're going to see what's going to happen here. Smith and Gilbert are up front. Then Brian Smith, Michael Taylor, Cody Neal. And then back into row 3, you got Nathan Finnegan, who's back once again. What has he got for the last 21 laps? And for Ryan Patty, he's in the lucky dog spot. He got fuel again on 36. Maybe he can make it.
Yeah, we should have asked Jacob while he was in here, but didn't want him to give away his secrets either.
I don't think you're going to make it from the lead.
The driver that I'm most intrigued about here is Cody Neal. He finished second in last year's race. He's sitting there in 6th on the 3rd row. At the time, he was running up front, and then he faded a little bit. I'm a little curious to see what he's got for these guys.
We're going to find out in just a moment here as the track map is back on. You can watch where your favorite driver is. You see the 81 trying to catch back up to the field. That is Evan Patinko. And he might get there. We'll see. As the drivers are off, here we are to start stage number 3 at COTA. And Smith gets an extremely good start. They're bunching up all behind him because, again, you just can't see that corner as you're coming through. Clean so far, clean so far. Wow, that's pretty civilized. A little bit of an accordion effect. A red car. One in the grass. I'm not sure who that is. Is that Zach Lockett or Brzezowski?
Sean Purcell.
John Purcell, thank you. John Ross moving back a little bit. Jacob Smith is off to another 1.5-second gap over Brian Smith, just like what happened last time. And I think the secret might be the warmer tires.
Yeah, really impressive gap there to give him some breathing room. As the 78 gets off track and squirrely. Michael Taylor ready to jump on him.
And Michael Taylor, we saw, was able to hang with those leaders for a while, and eventually Smith was able to, get away from him. But in this case, you got to do something different. It's almost like maybe if you drive Brian or race Brian Smith harder this time, because we know he's the odds-on favorite for the race win at this point. Maybe you can get him to abuse his tire, his stuff a little bit further, and he won't be able to pull quite as far away. Smith, however, is certainly, the other Smith, two Smiths, I got to get that right, seems to have found a little bit of something, but, this is sort of what he did last time. It just feels like he's a little bit faster this time around.
Yeah, I think he's just got the confidence of knowing that clean air can help him keep the lead this time. He's just got to do it again in a little bit longer than last time.
So there's that left turn, really good corner right there. He's going to stretch the lead by another few tenths, moving to 2 seconds higher. Travis Gilbert and Finnegan right here with each other. This is the battle for fourth. Gilbert has it. Finnegan wants it. Finnegan really can't waste any time here. He's already about 4 seconds behind Jacob Smith. And then, he's 2.5 behind Brian Smith. So he's going to have to get around this guy quickly, as he is trying to do so. I almost would have put the bumper to him. That lockup right there is really going to hurt his tires.
Yeah, that black flag penalty for Finnegan is what's kept him out of the lead here. And you got to wonder how nervous he is to make more contact, knowing that penalty is looming over and over every 9 points.
Yeah, that's certainly that's got to weigh on you as a driver as you want to go race for the win. And it's also unfortunate too, because if your competition knows all they got to do is door you and it's game over.
I think at this point everyone probably is pretty aware of how many incidents they have, and I don't think anyone's too eager to make contact at this point. Maybe later in the run when it's the end of the race and it's go time. But right now, like we talked about, maybe a few guys in the field could make it on fuel, so some people might be biding their time. Other people just assuming they're going to make a quick splash and go, and they're going as hard as they can. Be really curious to see how that comes out in the final laps of this one here at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, I think a 21-lap run on tires is going to be extremely tough, as we got Braxton DeWeese coming down pit road now. I imagine this is going to be a splash go for him, and then he'll stay out and see what all he can get.
I think he's actually got a black flag.
Okay. Is that what it is? Okay.
There are 4 cars currently with black flags to serve. McNeil in the 48, DeWeese in the 8 just did his, Badurka in the 71, and Nyman in the 51.
It's going to be heartbreaking for McNeil, who's running a really good race earlier. Scored 17th. That's going to change here in a couple moments. It's a little contact right there with, but I believe it's the 51, not 51, 57. No, I guess I just couldn't tell what car that was.
I think it was the 41 of Ray Lane.
You are right. My bad. My bad, folks. Car's going a little fast for me. Back out front, the gap still stays roughly the same. It's shortened a little bit. And as it's now stretching out again, but about 1.7 seconds, Jacob Smith to Brian Smith. But slowly but surely, Brian Smith is closing. He's put some distance in between him and Michael Taylor. Finnegan did get around Travis Gilbert. I'll see if we can find that pass for you. Might be a little hard to find, but he did get past him. So we'll keep an eye on Nathan Finnegan to see what he can do here. And he's going to have, like we mentioned earlier, he's going to have to move a little faster. Here's the pass. So Finnegan looks like he's going to make the pass here in that turn number 1, right to the inside. Makes it look kind of easy. Kind of looks like the 22 went for the crossover move right there, but just doesn't really fight too hard here, as Finnegan takes 4th position away. He's only a second and quarter back from Michael Taylor, but about 5 seconds from Jacob Taylor, and 3.5 to Brian Smith, who's shrunk the gap a little further on the lead as well. Here's Sean Purcell, one of the Toyotas of the field, running 17th. He had that off-track incident a little bit earlier at the start of this run. It wasn't too bad. It didn't get really turned around. It was just off into the grass, but not what he was looking for. A little in front of him, John Ross and Kevin Gunther. Kevin Gunther currently the biggest mover on the race right now, up 20 spots. Philip Badurka up 17 spots. He is a lap down, but, you know, hard to feel bad when you've increased your position by 17 from your qualifying.
Yeah, like I said, he just served that black flag penalty as well, so still great to see him up so many positions.
Yes, John Ross about a second behind Kevin Gunther for 13th. He was knocking on the top 10 earlier. He did hit on lap 38, so he was one of the groups of drivers who gave up some spots for another little bit of fuel. Maybe he's going to try to make it to the end. Jacob Smith, however, I'm pretty certain he will have to pit. Everybody else pitted on lap 37. He's got 32.
Yeah, I'm not sure you could save too much under caution here because it's just such a long track to get around.
And so if you are Jacob Smith here, do you, once you inevitably, I imagine, you're going to get passed by Brian Smith, do you just stay out there until that point and then pit? Or do you run it as far as you can? I almost feel like you want to pit earlier. And then, you know, like I mentioned last week, I like to be up to speed on track when everybody else is pitting. I want to have the tires that got heat in them as the guys are coming back on track. And that's if you take tires or if he's just going to be a gas and go. But I kind of feel like, you know, at a track like this, you want to take tires. And you're going to pass a bunch of the guys that don't take tires. I mean, we saw it earlier today at the last restart of the race with, 20 to go for NASCAR. I believe Chase Elliott took tires and he drove through the field, finished 5th. You know,
yeah,
and,
I think he could be in a unique spot because these other drivers are just going to be looking for a splash and go. They have no incentive to take tires and make their stop any longer. But Jacob, you know, he's going to need about a third of a tank. And so he could take 2 tires, but I don't like to take 2 tires at a road course and kind of upset the handling of the car.
I almost
oval,
like,
I definitely think about it, but
I almost like pitting right now from the lead. You know,
well,
but
I think, yeah, I don't know.
But at the same time, I guess we need to, if we take Brian Smith out of the equation here, that and you know the gap's still 1.5 seconds. Smith and Brian Smith, Jacob and Brian Smith, are both pulling away from the rest of the field rapidly. So at some point, I guess the longer and the more distance you put between you and the rest of the field is also going to be an advantage, as he's looking to put driver of the, is that the 42 a lap down?
I think that was the 62 of Christopher
62.
Roth.
Okay, the 62. And then Ryan Patty, currently in the 20th position, first car, 1 lap down. Won't be another lucky dog in this event, but maybe he's got enough fuel to make it to the end. It's the only guy that I think that would risk it. You know, from where he was, he didn't have much of a choice. Hit on lap 38.
Yeah, looking through, it looks like of everybody who's, you know, they have like a 1 or 2 lap advantage over our leaders. Looks like Brzezowski is actually the furthest up with that 1 lap better advantage. And he's in 10th. So he might be the guy that we could think about stretching it.
That was a rough
You're gonna
corner.
have to keep
for
it on track too.
That wasn't going to help your fuel mileage there, but this is something that you would have had to know right at the start of this run, that you were saving fuel. You would have had to know right away. So I think it's about, you know, but they told us it was about 21 laps. 38, you know, some caution laps. I have a feeling everybody has to pit, but it'd be nice if they don't. Brian Smith is closing rapidly now with 15 to go on Jacob Smith. This is looking just like earlier today.
Yeah, taking a look through the lap times, I don't see anybody who is so far off the pace that it's obvious they're trying to save fuel. Maybe the 48, John McNeil.
Yeah, I saw that 148, but then he just ran a 141.
Yeah.
He pit on lap 42, though, because he had that penalty. And it looks like he probably took tires and fuel. And is he on the lead
That's
lap?
what I'm wondering.
He is on the lead lap. He's 1 minute and 30 seconds behind the leader, as Kyle Gilbert's going to be the first car to come down for fuel. You know, McNeil could be in a good spot right here. It's just the issue is he's 3 seconds slow.
I think a lot of times the way iRacing does their stop and go penalties is you might get a 15-second stop and go if you don't touch the car, but if you do a pit stop, you end up getting a 40-second hold instead of a 15-second. So I'm not sure McNeil put on fuels or tire, because if he did, his penalty would have been more than double, and I think he would have absolutely lost a lap if he had a 40-second hold. So it's hard to tell from up here in the booth who's got tires and who doesn't, with all these black flags being served. Is right now the 88 of Chris Camber, and also with a black flag. He's 4 laps down currently.
It sucks. We're here playing a guessing game right here from the booth, just trying to figure out what's going to happen next. It makes it exciting. You almost want to root for some people, as John Ross got around Kevin Gunther. Moved John Ross up to 11th. He's got his work cut out for him to get to 10th. But all eyes are on Jacob Smith. When is he going to come down pit road?
And it looks like he's still running laps faster than Brian. But Nathan Finnegan right behind them is almost 2 seconds a lap faster. 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, well, for Finnegan, he has to go because, I mean, all 3 of these guys have to pit. Really, everybody up to 10th, like, I think we know they have to pit. Lap 37, there's no way. It's just too many laps. But Nathan Brzezowski and John Ross, and here comes Kevin Gunther. With those guys, maybe, but I at full speed, not saving, I have a hard time believing that they're going to make it. But it would be cool to see. It adds a lot of intense. It makes you wonder. I wish we could see or had access to what fuel was remaining in these drivers' cars, as here we are once again with the top 3 under a blanket trying to figure out what's going to happen in the closing laps of COTA here for the Icon Cup Series.
And I think Gunther in the 31, he's going to be the first one to make a move with just a 2.9-second stop. That's that splash of fuel to get to the end. He's the first one to make that stop.
Curious to see how far he's going to fall back, showing 16th in the running order presently. We'll keep an eye on that. Smith, Jacob Smith, that is, under siege. There's McNeil. He's trying to put John McNeil a lap down. John McNeil's going to have to kind of give it up, but he's going to end up being right in the way of the 78 of Brian Smith. Holy cow. Talk about, bad spot to catch a car going a lap down. And Smith just, was in the bad place. Wow.
Yeah, those leaders not happy with McNeil. I'm taking a quick listen into the radio chat. McNeil defending himself, saying he's just trying to get out of your way in a tight spot. I'm not really sure what else he could have done other than literally pulling off the track.
Well, that was a tight situation, and it happens right here. You can try to see it again. See McNeil on the left side of Jacob Smith right here. And he's trying to get out of the way, but, as he's getting out of the way, Smith and Finnegan, Brian Smith that in, are side by side. There's nowhere for McNeil to go. I mean, I'm not just going to cede, just cede the position totally right there and be a whole lot slower, which he ends up kind of doing. But now put Nathan Finnegan right behind Jacob Smith. And, I mean, how far are these 3 going to go? Smith running
another
really
car
flawless.
down pit lane. Ray Lane in the 41 making his move.
Vet to track racing machine, a Ford Mustang for him. I wonder if these guys are going to run it all the way dry.
You know, under a normal track circumstance, I'd like to run it dry on the chance you catch a caution and don't have to lose as much, time in track position. But here at COTA, we're not throwing any full course cautions, so there's no chance of getting lucky on something like that.
Yeah, these guys are still running 1:38-second laps, between Jacob and Nathan Finnegan. If one of them was to get tires 1 second a lap, isn't going to be enough to make up for the damage of pitting, I don't think. But look, there's some good, wow, it's contact right there, but there's some good defense right there from Jacob Smith. He kind of opened the door, but didn't allow a lot of drive off right there for Nathan Finnegan, which is going to hold Smith in the lead right now. Again, we've been saying it consistently. All three of these drivers are going to have to pit right here, but it's just a matter of when and who's going to do it first. And I want to pit first. You don't want to be second here. And these guys, you want to be the first one to pit. Question is, when do you pit?
And again, 74 of Sean Purcell on pit road now. Everybody kind of picking and choosing their chess move. I think the challenge is these guys coming to take just a splash of fuel. They're only spending about 30 seconds on pit lane to do so. And when you look back, if you're Kevin Gunther, you're 50-some seconds behind the leaders, even when they do come down to get their splash. You're not going to quite catch them, but it is going to get you up into that top 5.
Yeah, that's key. At this point, and for Ryan Patty, if he can, he's not going to make it. He pitted lap 36, but if he could, you're just trying to get as many positions as you can. But just take our attention back to this right here, because this is really where all the action is. A little bit of work right here between these two guys. This is 4th and 5th, by the way. Cody Neal, Travis Gilbert. These two guys are going to have to pit as well. And they're really working hard on each other. And just as well as Kyle Diaz and Michael Taylor. So we got some close racing. It's not just the top 3. But, I just, in all these battles where you're racing these guys, I want to be the first one to pit. I want to be in front of them. I don't want them to know that I'm about to pit. I want to turn off last second for pit road. That's what I want to do, that I'm up to speed when they make their pit stop. Man, these guys are all over each other right here.
Yeah, they just can't get away from each other. Ooh, big curb bump there. Jacob keeps it straight.
This is just incredible racing. These 3 drivers have forced each other to grow and to get faster all race long. These guys have gotten better every single lap. They have not shown any signs of fatigues. We're not seeing overdriving, and all 3 of them have gotten faster. Jacob Smith really showing that he can improve on older tires, really sliding that machine around. But those pit stops are coming. Travis Gilbert, Cody Neal, 4th and 5th, still with each other. Michael Taylor got around Kyle Diaz, and he's starting to stretch away. He's going to join this battle with Gilbert and Neal if they can't figure it out quickly. Back to the front, they're going to stay out once again. Up to the blind corner goes Jacob Smith. One of them going to make a move. Here's Finnegan to the inside. It's going to, ooh, wow. I thought he was going to bump him right there, but he chose not to.
Like I said, you got to wonder what that incident count is looking like for these guys and how willing are they going to be to make contact to get a position.
In the 08, Michael Taylor really drives it in, trying to get side by side with Travis Gilbert. It didn't quite work out. He wasn't able to get the drive off that he needed. But, the top 3 are within a second of each other, and then the next 3 are within a second of each other, and Kyle Diaz not far behind. So a lot of spots up front, up for grabs right now based on pitting, as Brian Smith is going to have contact with Finnegan. Let's see what happens right here. Finnegan just having a hard time. Finnegan goes for the pass. No, he just gets, I think he gets a little bit loose, and Smith even cuts him a break right there.
I think it's that same curb. We've seen a few guys hit it. It really lifts the rear end off the ground and gets a wheel hopping.
Yeah, he might have had a little bit of a touch, but Brian Smith really slows down right there to not spin him. Really good job by Nathan Finnegan, you know, getting turned around, but that's going to be it for him, I think. It's going to be these guys. Opens up a 3-second gap, Jacob Smith to Brian Smith. This is when you pit right now. You're Jacob Smith. You come around and you pit right now, in my opinion, and that's going to give you the best chance for him to possibly walk away winning this race. And, you know, I kind of want to say stealing it from Brian Smith, but this third run, Jacob Smith has really shown that he can hang with those guys, and he's been out front.
Yeah, just now it's about not making any mistakes. We're seeing a lot of cars miss the braking point on turn 1, hit those curbs around turn 7 and 8. Got to keep it clean now.
So Michael Neal, or Cody, geez, I'm getting all these names mixed up. Michael Taylor, Cody Neal, these guys still kind of going at it. A little further apart for them. Travis Gilbert's right there. Jacob Smith has already given up a second to Brian Smith on this lap. Got a couple more corners till we see if he's going to choose to come down pit road this time. And I mean, I would, but where Brian Smith is right now, he'd probably see him, and then he could, you know, go down with him. But I just don't imagine Jacob Smith can go much further.
Yeah, this will be the 20th lap he's been out there.
There he goes.
Here he comes.
And Smith is going to continue on track. The 16 is around. Just hanging out. But what is Jacob Smith going to do? Is this going to be a splash and go? You know, he's got an extra 2 seconds there. Two, 3, 4 second pit stop. 4 seconds and done for Jacob Smith. We'll see his overall time on pit road and where he's going to cycle out. He's currently scored 6th right now on track, getting back up to speed. Scored 7th. There's Kyle Purcell. He's going to try to get around him. Isn't going to be able to do so. So now Jacob Smith, highest running car with fuel to make it. 20 seconds behind Brian Smith. Total pit lane time I don't have, but pit stop time 4:37. I'll get a pit lane time for you in just a second.
Yeah, it looks like it was 28.8. Just about there, right about 29 seconds. So it seems to be on pace with what everybody else is doing when they're coming in for a splash.
It's very curious to see how this cycles through. If I'm Brian Smith, unless I know something that everyone else knows, I'm probably not going to wait around too much longer here unless he feels like he'll be faster than Smith now that he's out front. Last time around, he was a second faster, but we're going to see what Jacob Smith can do. He's got pretty clean air between him and Kyle Diaz. He's got 4 seconds. And on a track like this, I wouldn't imagine that he would be affected by a car 4 seconds in front of him. But I expect him to be able to knock out the same kind of lap times. But the thing for him now is you can't see Brian Smith. You can see him on your timing and scoring, but you can't focus on that. You've got to know he's going to come down pit road, and you have to run your race and just expect that you guys are going to be right next to each other again shortly. And don't look now. Nathan Finnegan is coming in a hurry.
Yeah, when you get spun, whether it's your fault or someone else's, that's usually a time for me when I turn my fastest laps trying to make up for that mistake, knowing that I, cost myself maybe a shot at the win.
Brian Smith's got a few more corners before we can see if he's going to try to, if he's going to pit or not. Jacob Smith ran a 2-minute lap on his pit stop time. So like you mentioned, only, 21 seconds slower overall. Smith's got to make this right-hand turn and then a quick left, and we'll find out if he's pitting this time. This is the closest battle on track between Charlie Widner and Zach Lockett. We'll check on that in just a minute. He's not going to come down this time. Back to this battle. Well, 0.7 of a second separate Charlie Widner and Zach Lockett. Here comes Kyle Diaz. Another vets to track machine. Ford Mustang put Jacob Smith back into the top 5. And last time around, Smith ran almost 2 seconds faster than Brian Smith.
You got to wonder if Brian's starting to save.
I don't know.
Maybe he thinks he can make it.
I don't know. Only a second slower. I just don't feel like that's saving. And we knew Jacob Smith had to pit, and looks like he should have the opportunity to chase down Cody Neal and Michael Taylor. But maybe, at this point, can they get there? Just from lap 37, I just don't know. Ryan Patty pitted on lap 36. He's still on track, hasn't pitted. Kyle Gilbert did pit on lap 46. Adam Patet, 38. He's still on track. So most of these guys, some did pit that were on 37. Some did not. I just have a hard time waiting till the very last minute to make my pit stop. Here's the battle for
your
third.
opponents guessing.
Oh, it really does. Battle for third right here. Cody Neal and Michael Taylor. This is all happening 12.5 seconds behind Brian Smith, the current leader, and 5 seconds in front of Jacob Smith. Nathan Finnegan running second. Talk about a recovery. I mean, regardless, if Finnegan finishes second, third, fourth, or fifth, the guy spun twice, had to serve a penalty, and if he could still finish in the top 3, you'll be dejected knowing that you had the speed and some penalty, and then 2 spins, potentially cost you winning the race. But you got to feel good with all that happening, potentially finishing in the top 3 or top 4.
Yeah, he finished third in last year's race here, so a second's going to feel a little bit better, but not as good as that win.
Oh, so Michael Taylor still running in third right here. Still waiting on pit stops. Not sure when they're going to happen, if they're going to happen. About 30 seconds away to determine if Brian Smith is going to come down this time or not. Jacob Smith has cut the gap down to under 18 seconds. Not enough time to get there. A little faster last time, but not fast enough. Going to come down pit road this time. He is not. With 3 laps to go, I'm going to assume that these guys can make it.
Sure getting close. I mean, it doesn't look like anybody's saving any fuel based on the lap times, but...
No, and about 21 laps for what we were given for the fuel run, last on pit road 37, 21 laps later, that should only get you to lap 58, but we did have the cautions. Or the caution laps, which was 2 or 3 under green, or excuse me, under yellow. But I still would have imagined you would lose a couple laps in there unless they were able to save a bunch. And is anybody going to risk it? Is anyone going to run out of fuel? Also, don't look now, but Finnegan is only 2 3/4 of a second back from Brian Smith, and he ran 0.7 of a second faster last time around. So he's got to take some more chunks out of this to have an opportunity at him, but he is coming.
Yeah, lap traffic's been pretty polite to the leader tonight, but Finnegan could use some help from those guys.
And another battle not sorted out yet between Michael Taylor and Cody Neal. 2 drivers that also have only gotten better as this race goes on. Zach Lockett and Nathan Brzezowski still working for the 11th position. Everybody else just trying to get around the racing surface. I'm going to go ahead and say that everybody up front's actually going to be able to make it, and the estimate that we were given was a little bit low earlier in the race, or these drivers found a way to save more. With the caution laps, it was just enough. I'm looking forward to hearing how close they are on fuel as they run. Brian Smith, Nathan Finnegan, Michael Taylor, Cody Neal, and Jacob Smith is going to be your top 5, but still about a lap and a half remaining to decide what's going to happen here, and anything can change. There could be an off-track incident. Somebody can miss a corner. Somebody can spin out. So there can be contact made, and everything can change in a hurry. Or, I mean, do you risk running out of fuel coming to the last corner? You know, at a place like this.
I don't like to risk it if I don't have enough left to do the burnout, personally, but we'll see what Brian can do here.
Yeah, well, we know it's close, but he's certainly not saving fuel. He just ran a 1:37.64, almost the fastest lap on track. Nathan Finnegan took the cake last time around, running a 1:37.46. These guys have really found their long run speed. I mean, they're 22 laps on their tires, and Finnegan is still running, and Brian Smith for that matter, still running lap times comparable to what they could run on fresh tires. Here we are, white flag is out. Brian Smith stayed on track. Looks like they have enough fuel. Taylor and Cody Neal are still battling for that third place position. We'll stay with these guys as the other two are too far away from each other to make a difference, but only half a second separates third and fourth, as they've got about 15 more corners to decide who's going to be on the podium. Michael Taylor with the position. Cody Neal wants the spot. Taylor's been hanging out in front of him this whole time. Ryan Patty's coming down pit road.
Yeah, we were wondering if he could make it all the way to the end. Not quite.
And he pitted on lap 36. So that tells me that these leaders are very close. A few more corners for Brian Smith. On the rumble strips, not much further to go. Taylor and Cody Neal, only 0.2 separate these two drivers. You see it here. Is Michael Taylor going to be able to hang on to Cody Neal? Is Cody Neal willing to use the bumper? You see him wiggling that machine around. Both drivers out of Michigan. What does Cody Neal have for Michael Taylor? As Brian Smith is coming to make the last turn, he's going to win the Circuit of the Americas. Nathan Finnegan will be P2. Still not over for third. Last attempt for Cody Neal. He had an opportunity to use the bumper, and the 08's going to go wide right there. Cody Neal's going to beat him to the start-finish line, and that's going to be your podium at the last second.
Wow.
You know, Taylor just got a little bit excited right there off the corner. He didn't really have much of a choice. Brian Smith's going to win. Jacob Smith's going to bring it home fifth. You know, really good effort, really good finish for a driver that had to pit. You know, when he showed that he probably had the speed, you know, to hold those guys off. So lots of drivers out of Michigan. Got to appreciate that as being a Michigan broadcaster. I'll actually be down pretty close to where all these guys live next weekend.
Yeah, that's 3 cars in the top 5 for Buddy Motorsports. Brian Smith, Cody Neal, and Jacob Smith. Not a bad day here at COTA.
Not at all. You know what? That tells you that Brian Smith's Northville, Michigan. Wow, that's kind of cool. Wonder if these guys will be at the... whatever. I'm just enjoying myself now. So that's going to do it here for COTA. We're going to go over the results real quick before, as we're going to watch Brian Smith enjoy his, you know, victorious effort here. It's actually not letting us, it's not showing the end of the race results for me yet this time, so we're not able to put them on screen. But we will get them. We'll await the Brian Smith burnout. Jacob Smith right there at the 71. I don't know if that was, any frustration. I highly doubt it. Brian Smith start finish line. Here comes Jacob Smith. We're about to do some dual burnouts or something interesting here. We sure are.
The more the merrier. Like you said, he passed my test. You got enough gas to do a burnout. You had plenty.
That works for me. It's giving the fans a show. Jacob Smith burning it down more than Brian Smith. I guess he's doing the burnout for him with the low fuel. Oh. One way to do your burnout celebration is to blow it up.
Yeah, and I was looking at the Buddy Motorsports guys. Forgot about Michael Taylor, also in the top 5 for Buddy Motorsports. So that's 4 of 5.
All right. Lots of drivers in the waiting room right now. Everybody wants to talk to us. Brian Smith, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on the race win. We need to ask you, though, how much fuel did you have left?
Ran out doing the burnout, so that should give you a pretty good idea. I made it with maybe half a lap of fuel remaining. But hey, that was the strategy, and it worked out. And it was nice to see some of my teammates execute the same thing, and it got me the win tonight. So pretty happy with that.
Wow, just really incredible. And we were wondering the whole time who's going to make it, and kudos to Jacob Smith. He was fast. He found some speed towards the end of this one, and I really wish you didn't have to pit to see what it was going to look like between you, him, and Nathan Finnegan, possibly even Michael Taylor for the end of this one. But at what point, Brian, did you know that you needed to save fuel? And that was the strategy. Did you have that figured out before the end of stage 2, or did you scope it out with some help while under the caution laps at the end of stage 2?
Yeah, it was a tough call. I knew going into the race it would be maybe 20, 21 laps, and then you factor in the pace laps before the start of the stage, and it was going to be right on. And there were some fuel saving techniques that I was using, changing shift points and letting it coast and lifting early. But yeah, I had that figured out pre-race. I didn't know if I would, execute this strategy until the end of stage 1. But I decided to take the stage wins, and that pretty much made my bed to try and make it to the end. I felt like worst case scenario was going to go in and do a splash and go, but obviously that wouldn't have been the winning strategy.
Yeah, considering the other, really everybody else in the top 5 other than Jacob Smith, they managed to make it. So, well, it worked out for you. Really great job on the strategy. That's always a tough thing to do, especially drive and come up with a strategy. So congrats again for winning the race. It was a lot of fun watching you drive today, and the floor is yours for anyone you want to mention.
Yeah, I just want to start off saying sorry to the 6 car. I know there was some contact between us. I was just going back and watching the one that he spun off at the end, and it did look like he hopped over the curb, and I was just too tight on his bumper, and I got back into him and sent him all the way around, and that was obviously not my intention. I was just in fuel saving mode. Did not mean to do that. I know there was some contact earlier in the race. Nothing intentional, just trying to race for the lead. But sorry to the 6. Shout out to my teammates. Jacob ran a great race. Cody ran a great race. Mike ran a great race. So it was a lot of fun out there. Everyone, from what I could tell, all the lap traffic did a good job of being clear of where they were going to go. And it was a lot of fun. Yes, again, just sorry to the 6, and great race from everyone else.
All right, Brian. Well, once again, congratulations on the race win. Look forward to seeing you next week, and maybe we'll talk to you again.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was the race winner, Shane. We're going to bring Nathan Finnegan in for you now. And Nathan Finnegan's joining the booth this time with you.
Hey, Nathan, how's it going?
Good. Glad to be here, guys.
Certainly a roller coaster of emotions for you tonight. We saw you have to serve a penalty, I believe, at one point. You got off some of the curbs a little rough and went around, but still managed to fight all the way back up to second place. You know, what was that like from your perspective?
Frustrating because we put ourselves behind the eight ball. That it actually wasn't even a black flag. I got the stage break wrong in my head. I thought it was lap 30, so I was going to flip the stage because I was so far back, and then start out the final stage in the front. And yeah, we ended up shortcutting the stage and then realizing it was 35 laps. That got us back in track position, and then we came down during the final pit stop, which I didn't realize until halfway through the final stage it was going to be as close as it was going to be on fuel. Just disappointing. I mean, it was good racing with the 4 and the 78. Hats off to Brian for the win. Sucks that he turned us in the hairpin there and got in the back end of us and sent us around. I'm curious how it would have played out if we didn't make contact, but that's road racing. So top two, second place and second place the first 2 weeks going into Phoenix. Should be in a good spot points wise. Would have loved to be one step higher, but all in all, a good day.
Yeah, we had an absolute blast watching you come up to the field once or twice there, and we spent a good bit of time in your in-car camera watching you getting it sideways and sliding around this track. It was a lot of fun to watch. Sorry it didn't work out for you at the end. I wish I could say I also haven't, guessed the stage break wrong in a league race and messed up my strategy. It happens to all of us. But we loved watching you race out there, and good luck next week.
No, I appreciate it, guys. That we put on a show for everybody.
Yeah, anybody you want to thank or send some shout-outs to?
Yeah, big shout-out to our CCR, ECR team. A lot of support from the guys there, giving us some feedback as to what was going on track in different sections. And big shout-out to my parents, my wife. Really appreciate you guys covering our races and doing what you guys do each and every week, so thank you.
Yeah, like I said, we had a blast, and get a good night's rest, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right, so now we're going to bring Cody Neal to the broadcast booth. Cody Neal, welcome to the broadcast booth. Congratulations on your last moment pass of Michael Taylor for P3. How does that feel?
Thank you. Yeah, it feels great. Sucks I had to do it against a teammate, but what happens sometimes.
And then, and something I did notice here, we got a lot of Michiganders. In fact, I think everybody is in the top 5 is from Michigan, with the exception of Nathan Finnegan.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how well this team meshes, and that we all live relatively close to each other.
How did that happen? Did y'all all meet here on the circuit, or did y'all kind of get together ahead of time and then start racing together with Icon?
No, we've known each other for quite a while outside of sim racing, but we had a team season 1, and then we split up, did our own thing last season, and then got back together. And Jacob is running full time this year, which is a great addition. And Mike, this is Mike's first season, so yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Found myself in Saginaw earlier today, so I think it's kind of cool to have a field full of people in Michigan. It might be worth.
Oh yeah.
Might be worth a Saturday night beer one of these.
Right, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Anyway, great run. We were watching you guys fight it out for the last 5 or 6 laps. Once we knew that the top 2 positions were secured. At any point during that time, did you think you just weren't going to be able to catch Michael, or do you just, the hope's right there in front of you and you just keep at it?
No, I knew we were pretty close on pace. I just had to wait for him to make a mistake, and he kind of did with a couple laps to go, and I just stayed with him. We were kind of fuel saving, so couldn't really push too much more than what we were pushing. So, but glad I got the position.
Right on. Well, Cody, it's good talking to you. Is there anyone you'd like to mention before we let you go?
Buddy Motorsports, obviously, great team. Hopefully we can do this again next week.
All right. Well, folks, that's Cody Neal. driver the number 38 finishes P3 last moment. Cody, look forward to talking to you again. I hope you have a great week.
Thank you.
Shane, we're going to keep doing this. It looks like a lot of drivers want to have something to say, so we're going to bring Mike Taylor in, who we saw at that last moment, mistake there. And he's going to be with you as he just missed the podium. He's in the booth now.
Hey, Mike, this is Shane in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Shane, how's it going?
Going great. You go by Mike or Michael?
Mike is good.
All right, we'll keep it straight. We had a blast watching you guys race out there tonight, and there were a couple of moments where we were pretty focused on Brian Smith and Nathan Finnegan, and then all of a sudden that 08 car would peek into the picture and get into that top 3. Tell us how your night went.
Yeah, it was fun. I was just happy to be in the top 5 for the second race in the league. I was kind of tracking in 4th place. Noticed they started racing, so started to lay on it just a little bit, and then found my way in the top 3. Bummed I missed the podium in the last corner though, but I'm glad my teammate got it. It's all good.
Yeah, we were watching that battle for sure. It looked like it was a tight one for a whole bunch of laps there at the end, but if it's safe, it's got to be somebody, it better be a teammate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Do you circle road courses on the calendar and say, hey, this is a big one for me, or is this one where you were kind of dreading it? I know it was a mixed emotion in the community this week.
Definitely. I'm primarily a road driver. I just got into oval in the last year, so this is kind of my sweet spot. But the car track combo with the heavy stock car at COTA was just kind of a nightmare all week practicing for it. The tight hairpins made it really difficult to get the heavy car around. So, but anyways, it was still fun. It worked out.
Yeah, you made it look good. Is there anybody you want to thank or give some shout outs to?
Oh yeah, I think my family's watching, so mom, dad, brother, girlfriend, Callie. So it was glad you guys got to watch. Grandparents are also, I think, so they'll be watching some more throughout the season. Hopefully, I'll get another interview.
Yes, sir. Well, good luck next week at Phoenix and getting back to the ovals. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll do one. We'll take one more here, I think. And we got we talked to Jacob Smith, and he's standing by as well. So we'll bring Jacob Smith back to the booth, and Shane, I'll let you take it from there as well as I do a couple more things. So joining the booth now, Jacob Smith. Oh, so close with you.
And Jacob, we had a chance to talk to you earlier. Didn't quite work out there at the end. Tell us what happened.
Not too much happened. I just obviously couldn't make it on fuel. I didn't know those guys were going to be that tight. So props to them. They nailed the fuel strategy. I was thinking everybody was going to have to pit at the end. So not much to say besides just had to top off on fuel and luckily secured a top 5 at the end there.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. We had all of our calculators and spreadsheets going, and we thought everyone had to stop at least for a splash, but they were had just enough to get there and do the burnout. But you still had speed in that final stage and ended up being 4 out of the top 5 there for Buddy Motorsports. So pretty good night for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, pretty happy we were able to bring it home a top 5. And this Midwest Euro Parts Ford Mustang was pretty quick today. So glad we were able to secure that, and a good points day for the team.
Yeah, it seems like there's a few names that came up in this year's race in the top 10, top 5, same as some of the top 5, top 10 last year. Are you somebody who circles the road courses on the calendar and thinks, hey, this is a chance for me to get in victory lane, or are you more looking forward to getting back to the ovals?
I think I'm a big fan of both. COTA is definitely not one of my strongest road courses. I like Watkins Glen a lot more. I know we have Sonoma coming up at some point. I really am not a fan there, but I do like the road racing. It's just can get a little difficult in the Cup car, depending on how the rest of the field does. So COTA here was a good showing of that. It's just tough to pass, and unless you put the bumper to somebody.
Yeah, well, we had a blast watching you wheel it around here and bang some bumpers with some guys, and hope you can take the top 5 to heart and come back at it next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too.
All right, folks, that's going to be it for the night here at the Circuit of the Americas for Sim Racing Media and the Icon Season 3 Cup Series. This was race number 2 at COTA, won by Brian Smith. Top 5s, Nathan Finnegan, Cody Neal, Michael Taylor, and Jacob Smith. Notable finish, John Ross in 7th, up 20 positions. 25 positions since the start of this race. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Kevin Gunther finished 14th, up 19 positions. Also consistency. Braxton DeWeese, what could have been for him, finishes 21st on the list after, having that one incident, then I believe serving a black flag, and just a rough night to hit for him. Other drivers not having great nights that had high hopes. Drivers on the number 16 machine. Michael Jennings finishes 31st with high hopes. Actually comes up +4 for him. Christopher Roth having a rough race, as well as many others. Kendall Everin finished 3rd last week, finishes 37th today, only completing 20 laps. But all in all, really great showcasing. Most of these drivers were able to stay on track, Shane, and it was a really good night. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we had it all, right? We had 3 cars right on each other's bumper for a good portion of the race, nudging each other out of the way. We had cars overshooting turn 1, getting into each other, saving it. And then ultimately we had some fuel strategy play out at the end where drivers chose stage points versus going for the win, and it paid off for Brian Smith.
Absolutely. Next week, we're looking forward to oval racing once again. We'll be going to Phoenix for 180 laps. That's going to be Sunday on March 9th. Stages will be 45 and 90. That's going to be a long one, but it should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see all you folks there. And Shane, it's been a great night working with you as you walk through life. Ladies and gentlemen, as said by Tony Trapasso, one of the greatest sim broadcasters and friends I've ever known. Please do not play in traffic. Good night.